Welcome to our Willamette University broadcast. As always, my name is Nick Bodiford. You picked a very special night to be watching our show. For tonight, we're featuring the origins of Greek theater. Greek theater can be seen as man's genius and creativity in the arts. However, how much do you know about Greek theater? Probably not enough. Tonight, I'll be guiding you through the many facets and features of what we consider to be ancient Greek theater. We will begin with the cult of Dionysus and song and dance in reverence to the gods led to plays in the theater. We will then delve into the competitions that led to the evolution of Greek theater. We will conclude our journey with the mystery behind Thespis, a man many credit with being the father of Greek theater. Along the way, we'll take a look at the chorus and actors, integral parts of Greek tragedy. We'll also touch upon what the actors may or may not have adorned while on stage. Now that we've punched your ticket for tonight's theatrical ride, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I'm so drunk tonight, I don't got nowhere to go. I'm so...
Theater was created during religious festivals honoring the gods. Dionysus was the god most closely associated with theater. Tragedy could be considered to have grown out of Dithrum. The Dithrum was a choral hymn honoring Dionysus. Originally, the Dithrum consisted of men dressed as satyrs, meaning they were wearing horns, hoofs, and tails. These Dithrums eventually evolved into a satyr drama with the inclusion of actors. The two main festivals in honor of Dionysus were the city Dionysia and the Lenaea. It was very common to see theater in both of these festivals. Tragedy and comedy date back to around 534 BCE and 486 BCE in the city of Dionysia, respectively. Lenaea had comedy around 442 BCE and tragedy around 433 BCE. It was believed that everyone should have the chance to see the plays and take part in these festivals. If someone was unable to pay the entrance fee of 2 obols, the state would give them a grant to allow them to take part. The daily workings of the city stopped during these festivals. This included business and the courts, as well as releasing the prisoners so that they too could take part in the festival. To house this many people, the Theater of Dionysus was built, which in the 4th century Athens could hold upwards of 17,000 people. There was a procession to escort the statue of Dionysus from the temple to the theater. Because the two buildings were relatively close to each other, the procession was not an elaborate one. It consisted of a cart being pulled by 2 men who are supposed to be the sprites or attendants of Dionysus. In the cart, there are 2 satyrs playing flutes, and the statue is between them. In front of the cart, there are boys with branches, baskets, and instruments. This allowed the god to witness all the plays that were put on during the first day. During the early parts of Greek tragedy and comedy, Dionysian themes were still common. The themes included revelry and a wildness not usually seen. Jokes were also hurled about, including ones at the god's expense. A popular joke that was seen in some of the comedies was people celebrating too much and in their drunken stupor bearing children. These Dionysian elements were eventually removed from the tragedies, but were kept in the satyr drama as a way to worship the god Dionysus in the plays. Now that you've met Mardi Gras' cool uncle, let's take a look at some friendly competitions. There were 2 main Dionysian festivals that heavily involved acting and competitions of acting. Lenaea took place at the end of January when conditions did not favor navigation or travel. Because of this, it was an event centered on family and friends, and it was mostly citizens of Athens. The city of Dionysia happened 2 months later, at the beginning of March, when tribute was expected in Athens from the participants of the Allies. During this time, there were a lot of visitors and foreigners that also attended the festival, making it much larger and more cosmopolitan. The city Dionysia was set up by Pisistratus in 534 BCE. Both ceremonies resembled each other closely, and both were 6 days long. On the first day, there is an opening procession similar to the Olympic Games. The second and third days were primarily devoted to the dithrums. These were very religious aspects of the festival. A few of the famous playwrights of the time, such as Sophocles and Euripides, would prepare plays for the last 2 to 3 days, usually writing 3 to 4 plays each, generally 3 tragedies, 1 satire, or 1 satyr play. Every playwright usually stuck to the same theme for all of their plays. The tragedies would be performed earlier in the day, and the satire at the end to leave the audience with a light heart. Tragedies quickly evolved away from the religious aspects as playwrights started drawing on stories of old, but the satyr plays remained strongly tied to the praise of Dionysus. Tragedies and satires have distinctly separate styles, and there was rarely any crossover, so the audience always knew what kind of play they were watching and how to respond. A lot of times, the plays would reference previous year's ideas from both their plays and other playwrights' plays, but the plays were never repeated except occasionally at the Dionysia in December. The audiences at these festivals were composed of people from varying backgrounds around Greece, but the masses were typically commoners and working-class citizens, so the playwriters had to be sure that the play did not only appeal to the rich and educated. The competition aspect of this festive acting encouraged many new styles and ideas, but prizes weren't handed out to winners of the city of Dionysia until 449 BCE. Even then, it was only the tragedies that were judged in competition, and it wasn't until 325 BCE that a prize for the comedies was also added. The Lenaea festival, however, started doing prizes for tragedies in 442 BCE and satires in 443 BCE. Although masks were said to have had a great likeness to the intended character, it was still customary for the chorus to introduce them. As the role of actors changed and became more prominent in the play, the choir grew less and less important. In 484 BCE, a second actor was added in as the antagonist by the famous playwright Aeschylus. In 476 BCE, the first prologue was used in which the actors came out before the chorus, and it was left to the actor to introduce the audience to the chorus. The chorus remained a primary component of original acting, though as a narrator, filling in the holes in the story to the audience. It was these competitions of acting that led to the Greek acting that we know today. The addition of actors and the change of the role of the chorus come from playwrights such as Sophocles, introducing these new additions for the latest competition. Playwrights had to constantly change and evolve the way that they structured and performed their plays as to never fall out of the audience's favor. As previously mentioned, winning a physical prize wasn't the ultimate goal of a theater competition. It was far more important to be the playwright to be thought of as the best. Some of the benefits of being the best can be seen in Plato's Symposium, where after winning his first tragedy competition, Agathon is shown praise from his peers, and he is generally being treated better, gaining more respect than before his victory. The evolution of theater can be thought of as the same way as many other social inventions, such as science and technology. It is the race of one man against another which ultimately fuels creation and creativity. The chorus evolved out of the dithrum with the evolution of plays. The dithrum was completely choral, and so was the early tragedy and comedy. The dithrum also had 50 singers, which carried on to the early chorus. The number of singers varied with the time as well as the importance to the story of the play. The chorus varied from as many as 100 members all the way down to 15. The Greek chorus was led by the choragus. The choragus's role in the chorus was to instruct, finance, and lead. The chorus was originally used to sing the dithrum. The dithrum was a choric hymn to Dionysus. It took the form as an exchange between the leader of the chorus and the chorus itself. The singing of the dithrum evolved into the chorus that is found in Greek dramas. However, this does not mean that the dithrum disappeared. After Thespis introduced the actor, the chorus started tying the interludes together. Later, the chorus would act as a narrator or commentator to the events that were happening in the play. However, the chorus would usually go ignored by the actors. The chorus started getting smaller as the number of actors increased. At one point, the chorus totaled 50 people. However, by the time Sophocles was composing plays, that number had shrunk to 15. By the time Sophocles was composing plays, the number of chorus members had drastically diminished in size. The chorus started off being extremely integral to the success and story of the play. Starting out as an evolution of the dithrum, the chorus essentially told the story of the play. Even with the advent of actors, the chorus was still more important than the actors. With the older plays, the chorus played a certain role, which included clouds, dreams, frogs, insects, knights, or athletes. In one tragedy, Aeschylus's Suppliants, the chorus represented 50 daughters of Danaus who fled Egypt. In this play, the actors who represent Argos and the girls' suitors are not as important as the girls themselves. It is evident that the importance of the chorus changed with time. Eventually, the chorus represented regular people instead of specific characters. The choral lines no longer moved the story along and in some cases felt like an interruption. By the time Aristotle wrote the Poetics, the chorus was seen as a disruption. Aristotle spends very little time talking about the chorus in the Poetics, despite the fact that it was a book about drama and winning competitions. Aristotle writes that the chorus should be seen as a production element needed to win competitions and not another actor. This means that the chorus was seen in the same light that we might look at costumes today.